Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, how they listen. It's like in the old days, you know, on Zoom, you just mute everybody. I've lost control. So come gather. And what a beautiful, beautiful evening we have tonight. And it's wonderful to see you all, those of you who are on the green and those of you who are on Zoom. We wish you a Shabbat Shalom indeed and invite you to turn to our service packets for the month of Elul. Elul is passing along too fast, but we're going to hold on to Elul for as long as we can. I guess we get 1 month's worth. And so it's traditional to begin our Elul service with the singing of Ozi v'Zimrat Yah. Cantor boy.
Ozi v'Zimrat Yah, v'yehi l'Yeshua. 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 Ozi v'Zimrat Yah, v'yehi l'Yeshua.
It is indeed the time for turning. We're reminded in the book of Ecclesiastes that there is a season for everything and a time to every purpose under heaven. So now is the time for turning. I'm glad to see that the leaves have refused to cooperate because I don't see color quite yet, but soon, just you watch. The leaves will turn, the birds will turn, they'll head to the south. The animals will turn to storing their food for the winter. And for leaves and birds and animals, turning is instinctive. But for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong, and that is never easy. It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are terribly hard to do. But unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. So God, please help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, and from fear to faith. Turn us around and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning. And turn us toward each other, for in isolation there is no life. Our special L'Chadodi.
Sure.
Oh, if that's okay, I
I'm happy
love
to do
that.
Yeah. So we sing Lecha Dodi. We welcome the Sabbath bride. Just a few minutes ago, there was a bride and a groom right here on the lawn next door, getting married, who came to this lawn and then left it as bride and groom. So we welcome the Shabbat bride with a special melody that we also use to welcome a bride at a Jewish wedding. It goes like this. Lecha Dodi likrat kala Anei Shabbat nekabla Shamor bezachor medibor echad Yishme'anu al hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shemo tiferet v'litzvilah Lecha Dodi likrat kala Anei Shabbat nekabla. Please rise as we greet our Shabbat bride. Boi b'shalom ateret mala gam b'simcha u'solam toch emunei am segula boi chala boi chala Lecha Dodi likrat kala Anei Shabbat nekabla.
There's no human being who does not carry a treasure in the soul, a moment of insight, a memory of love, a dream of excellence, a call to worship. We turn to our call to worship as we rise for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai Please be seated as we continue together in Hebrew on page 2. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El Chai V'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes. Open up our eyes. Teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name. We will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Our Via Hafta this evening is not going to be chanted in Hebrew. We are going to recite it in English as we do so with this responsive reading for Elul. You shall love the ones who are close with all your heart, with all your spirit, with all your strength.
Remember these words. Inscribe them on your heart. Love them when they struggle, when they sadden and disappoint you. Love them when they fail.
See the good within them even when they can't. Look at them and listen, even when it's hard. Be grateful for their guidance, even their reproof, when they save you from yourself.
Love them when they give you joy, and love them when they don't. When you lie down, let go of anger. When you rise up at dawn, begin again.
Praise them for their deeds at home. Speak to them in public with respect.
Bind yourself to the ones you love, with promises kept and vows fulfilled.
Open to them the gates of your heart, the doorway of your soul, and let them know you. So shall the ones you cherish feel your love, your presence, and your care. And then Moses and Miriam and all Israel sang to God this song of utter joy.
Kodesh, Barat Tehillah.
I see the title of the next reading, which is kindness, which is a great Jewish value. And I see that word kindness, and I am personally reminded of the days when I was younger and not sure what word to use to describe myself in my youth. But let me just say that I didn't think kindness was the highest value. I have come to learn that kindness is the highest value. I think some of our young people at the temple have taught me that you don't need to wait as long as I did to know that truth, because I see them exemplifying kindness all the time. But for me, I think it's true what it says here, which is, I guess, before you know what kindness really is, you have to lose things. You have to feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. Kindness. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael, 6 days a week we work, 1 day we rest, but 7 days a week we practice kindness.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam v'rit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam v'rit olam. Beini ubein bnei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru bnei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam v'rit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam v'rit olam. Ubayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam v'rit olam.
Bottom of page 3, we rise for our Amidah.
Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words to שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Kodnei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii geula lifnei b'neihem, Leman shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Tomech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishanei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umidam elach, Melech meimit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Beneman atal hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, Ukedoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day. Selah. Please be seated. As we continue with a silent prayer, and because we're outside, that silence may not be silent, so we'll call it a reflective prayer, and take in the sounds as you reflect.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Otahu Melech Adon V'Kol HaShalom.
Maybe it's because we just started our building project at TBT this week. But as I look through this week's Torah portion, and of all the mitzvot that are spelled out in this week's Torah portion, and by the way, you should know that Ki Tetzei has the gold star attached to it for having more mitzvot in it than any other portion has listed in it. Big prize if you know how many. If I tell you, you can get the big prize next year. 72. So 72 out of how many? 613. So 72 are in just one parsha. And of all those 72 mitzvot, wouldn't you know it, the one that stands out in my mind this evening is the mitzvah that has to do with a building project. It's the mitzvah about building a parapet. So this is how the mitzvah reads in the Torah. It's just one sentence. When you build a new house, you shall make a parapet for your roof, so that you do not bring blood guilt on your house if anyone should fall from it. So now, for those of us who are more accustomed to city living or apartment living, what is a parapet? Literally, a parapet, a ma'aket in Hebrew, literally it's a small wall or a guardrail that assures that anyone who is up on the roof doesn't fall off. So I just want to assure you from the outset, I'm not going to be up on the roof. I don't go up on the roof, so don't worry about me. But the point is that we have to worry about others. So literally, we need to build a parapet for our roofs. But symbolically, and the Torah is full of symbolism, it means that we need to assure in any way that we can that other people don't get hurt, especially when it's our own property. So this mitzvah has taken on a life of its own in Jewish time. And from early on in Jewish history, the mitzvah of the parapet was understood to pertain to more than just how we prevent people from falling off roofs. In the 12th century, Maimonides wrote that this commandment also mandates us to remove any obstacles and traps from all of our properties, to build a railing around all roofs, ditches, or holes, and their like, so that no one can possibly fall into them or be injured. We must also make sure, Maimonides continues, to remove all other hazardous objects that we might control. So when we think about the mitzvot of Judaism, we tend to be more inclined to think about lighting Shabbat candles, that's a mitzvah, or keeping kosher, that's a mitzvah, or respecting our parents, that's a mitzvah, welcoming the stranger. We don't usually think of tractors and bulldozers and construction sites. But while we can divide all 613 mitzvot into the categories of ritual or ethical mitzvot, we can easily forget that the ethical mitzvot are practiced all the time and in every place, even in construction sites. Maimonides not only expands the law of the parapet from just rooftops to include holes and ditches, but he puts the mitzvah into a category of mitzvot that he titles laws of the murderer and the preservation of life. That makes it a major, major mitzvah. We have talked often, particularly in the days of COVID, about the mitzvah of preserving life and saving life. So this mitzvah of building a parapet is about life itself and protecting life itself. So for Maimonides, clearly he teaches that this mitzvah is about the preservation of human life. And safety, keeping safe, is a religious obligation. And negligence is not just a crime, it's a sin. And as Rambam reads this law, the Torah orders us to assure the well-being and health of all those around us. And that's when I need to say the name Jacob Blake. The well-being and health of all those around us. What is our responsibility? We need to start building parapets around the police and around the use of guns and around the victims of gun violence. We say, Shema Yisrael. We say, listen, Israel, hear these words. I want you to listen to these words that are offered to us by Jacob Blake's sister. She, Letetra Widman, writes, biblically, she writes, I am my brother's keeper. And when you say the name Jacob Blake, make sure you say father. Make sure you say cousin. Make sure you say son. Make sure you say uncle. But most importantly, make sure you say human. Human life. Let it marinate in your mouth, in your mind. And human life, just like every single one of y'all, we're human. And his life matters. So many people have reached out to me telling me they're sorry that this happened to my family. Well, don't be sorry, because this has been happening to my family for a long time, longer than I can account for. It happened to Emmett Till. Emmett Till is my family. Philando Castile, Mike Brown, Sandra Bland. This has been happening to my family, and I've shed tears for every single one of these people that it's happened to. This is nothing new. I'm not sad. I'm not sorry. I'm angry, and I'm tired. I haven't cried one time. I stopped crying years ago. I'm numb. I've been watching police murder people that look like me for years. I'm also a Black history minor. So not only have I been watching it in the 30 years that I've been on this planet, but I've been watching it for years before we were even alive. I'm not sad. I don't want your pity. I want change. Turning is hard to do. Change is hard to create. The Torah teaches us that the safety of other people is our obligation. The Torah is concerned with our responsibility to others. A religious Jew is often referred to as an observant Jew. Observant. Perhaps we need to open our eyes and start observing the ways in which we can take better care of each other and assure each other's health and safety more completely. Then we will not only be building a new building for TBT, we will be building a better world. Can you hear that song? Amen. Our service continues with our Misha Berach. The words are on the bottom of page 4. But before we pray that prayer, we include the names of those we're focused on to receive the intentions of the prayer. And we include this evening Barbara Stahl, Joan Green, Jill Lesage, Sam Powell, Gloria Sack, Melanie Siegel, Dr. Saul Basso, Joan Sidney, David Char, Orly Bat-Yehudit Ariella, Deborah Poulin, Samuel Feidelberg, Elizabeth Powers Brown, Marielle Sheepers, Sue Yeris, Gloria Newland, Indiana Peck, Ben Peck, Mark and Martha Potter, Helen Dreyfus, Maggie Atkinson, Amelia Sidney, Stuart Sidney, Charlotte Halverson, Matthew Pincus, Leonard Stokel, Amy Ostreicher, Jerry Hill, Martin Gluck, Erica Gerfine, Gloria Temchin, Evelyn Black, Jacob Blake, and I include Rabbi Dina Feingold, a friend and colleague, rabbi of the great temple in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and sister of Senator Russ Feingold from Wisconsin. I include her not for Rifuata Guf, for health of body, but for Rifuata Nefesh, as she labors to carry her community to more peaceful times. Are there others to include in our Misha Beirach this evening? Larry? Yeah. Our prayer for their healing.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha bless those in need of healing, with refuah shining up, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Page 5, we rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula leyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu ki mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo echad.
Please be seated. I'll just wait a second until he's seated. Stu Weinzimmer. Thank you. Come on up.
Oh, fuzzy. Shabbat shalom, everybody. It's a nice view from up here. It's a nice view from up here. How wonderful to see everybody. My name is Stu Weinzimmer. I'm on the board of directors. Tomorrow morning, Torah study will be led by Rabbi Offner from 9 to 10 a.m. And the link is in your inbox and also on the website at tbtshoreline.org. Reminder, you should all have received your high holiday packets in the mail and also via email. Please return your registration form as soon as possible. They're due by September 7th. New membership directory, complete with photos. We're working on that, so if you haven't sent in your photo yet, please do. Please drop your services in the box or hand it to me on the way out so that we can have them for you at the next outdoor service. And also, new weather permitting, we are now planning to have all of our Shabbat services through the end of September right here on the Madison Green, all at 6 p.m., except for September 18th, of course, which is Rosh Hashanah. And we hope to see you all back here next Friday, September 4th at 6 p.m., either right here on the Madison Green or via Zoom. Hello, Zoomies out there. As always, there will be live Zoom. There you go, for those who cannot attend. I'm also going to ad-lib here, go off script here for a second, and just say that as we prepare for the high holidays, if you or if you know of anybody who needs help with Zoom, since we will be on Zoom for the high holidays, please reach out to myself or Kim or Bonnie in the office, and we can connect you to somebody who can orient you a little bit better so you're prepared for the high holidays. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Our thoughts turn now to our loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, those who died at this season in years past, and our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronam livracha, we say, may their memories be a blessing now and forever. At this time, I'd like to ask those in the first 30 days of mourning to please rise. Those in the first year of mourning, would you please rise? And those observing a yortzeit, would you please rise? As we remember those in our community who have passed away in these last 30 days, we remember Dorothy Bromberg, mother of Mona Goodman, Laura Tanz, wife of Mark Tanz, Tony Anastasia, life partner of Jim Miller, Rabbi Mark Dove Shapiro, Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Sinai in Springfield, Massachusetts, and Rabbi Mark Shapiro of Chicago, Illinois. We remember as well those for whom we observe yortzeit: Emily Capozzi, William Fogelman, Bob Johnson, Harold Shapiro, Irving Gendel, Leon Rosenblatt, Otto Herzberger, Rosalind Golding, Wayne Fenton, Robert Torr, Ned Weiss, Milton Marcus, Myron Elovich, Patty Gelman, Morris Lieberman, and Richard Phelp. If there are other names to include in our Kaddish, please share them at this time. Okay. And we turn now to the middle of page 5 as we all rise for Kaddish. Yigadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'amei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yal kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates peace in the high heavens create peace here on earth and in the hearts of all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Before our final song, I just want to say welcome to our newest members. You know, last week I said we had just a spanking new member. Well, now she's an old timer because this week we have new members. They moved fast. Gloria Kindman and Ethan Horowitz. Raise your hands there. And they live on the Upper East Side in New York, and they've just bought a house off of Liberty on Neptune, I think, right? And the Greens are listening with interest. I want to introduce you because the Greens also live on the Upper East Side and in Madison, but I can't exactly introduce you today because they're on Zoom. But I see they're eager to meet you. I promise. So we'll get that in. That closing song, again, a tradition for Elul to turn to the 27th Psalm, where we sing Achat Sha'alti. After services last week, people said they weren't sure what it meant because it didn't say, it doesn't have the translation here. So I'll tell you that Psalm 27 says there's one thing that I seek in my life, and in my life it's to be in the house of God. And the house of God, we've demonstrated tonight, can be anywhere. We make it God's house when we practice kindness and we take care of each other. And we're going to conclude our service after the closing song with the sounding of the shofar. And so I'm going to ask Eli Scherer, a master Beth Tikvah, to come on up, or well, he'll know his cue if you'd rather wait. Okay, and we'll Achat Sha'alti.
Achat sha'alti meit Adonai otavakesh. Achat sha'alti meit Adonai otavakesh. Shibiti beveit Adonai Lachazor benoam Adonai ulvake pechalo. Lachazor benoam Adonai ulvake pechalo.
Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu. God of our ancestors, may we hear the call. May we hear the call to change. May we hear the call to turn. May we hear the call to more kindness. May we build a better world. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.